Red Sox, Yankees, Nats, Marlins, Rangers, Mariners got best bets coming your way on a short MLB slate. Only 8 games going tonight, but how should we be betting those 8 games? That's what you're here to find out, and that's what you will find out. First pitch, WagerTalk TV, joining me to break down this just massive card. We brought him back. Adam Trigger is with us, and Tokyo Brandon, my KBO brethren, in the house here on a Thursday morning. Tokyo Brandon styling and profiling as always. And TB, I'll start with you. You're not going to be handicapping with rose-colored glasses. You'll be handicapping with blue-colored glasses. And I like to see that, TB. So let's talk this Red Sox and Yankees game going here. This one's 7:15. Again, out of these games, 3 of them start in the afternoon. So we'll hit on as many as we can for you. Keep those comments coming while you're hanging out. Like, subscribe if you're watching us on social. That follow button will get you the info you know and love right in your timeline. But Red Sox and Yankees, you actually have a player prop for us in this one, in the series opener here. It's going to be a 4-game set between these storied clubs. How do you see game 1 shaking out, and which player prop stood out to you as something you probably should make a wager on?
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, this game, very interesting, and probably the one game today that most people are going to be watching because it's a heated rivalry. Yankees are fighting to win the division. Boston is not, but Boston always plays the Yankees tough. So the way I'm going to approach this game, look, Nestor Cortez is the known commodity here as far as the starting pitching is concerned. Cooper Criswell, not quite as well known, but actually in my rankings, I take the starting pitchers. I have about 300 of them, and I rank them on a curve of 30. And actually, I have Cooper Criswell ranked a little bit higher than Nestor Cortez. I have him on the curve of 30, ranked 15, while I have Nestor Cortez ranked 19 out of 30 on the curve. Bullpen-wise, the Yankees have a huge advantage. Hitting-wise, actually have with the slight advantage right now, which takes into consideration current form. But the way I'm going to go here, actually, if you look at Nestor Cortez, he has a long history against this Boston Red Sox team. And if you take a look at Russell Devers, how he's performed against Nestor Cortez in the past, he's actually hitting him quite well. So I'm going to kind of focus in on Devers here. Or Rafael Devers, not Russell, sorry. He's 415 and he's got a double and 2 home runs in those 15 at bats. Devers is a mainstay in Boston's lineup. And here's a little way that I like to approach batter props. A lot of people like to do total bases. Total bases is nice, but actually, usually you're trying to get over 1.5. And usually you're only going to get 4 at bats in one game. So to get 2 total bases, you either have to hit a double in one of your 4 at bats, or you have to hit 2 singles, or a home run, which is highly unlikely because most batters only hit 1 home run every 25 to 30 at bats. So I like hits, runs, RBIs much better because with hits, runs, RBIs, you can get a hit. But also, you can score by getting a walk. With total bases, walks don't count. So you lose one of your 4 at bats in the game if your batter walks, and it's a total wash for your prop. But with hits, runs, RBIs, if your guy walks, he can get knocked in, and it counts as a run, so it can still contribute to your prop. So today I like Russell. I keep calling him Russell. I don't know why. Maybe I'm thinking Russell Wilson, but Rafael Devers. I like Rafael Devers plus 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in this game because of his nice history against Nestor Cortez. And actually, Nestor Cortez, I mean, look, he might come out and pitch a complete gem today, but frankly, I find Cortez to be highly overrated. If he played for the Tampa Bay Rays or if he played for the Minnesota Twins, probably no one would even know his name. But because he plays for the Yankees and he's in the starting rotation, everyone knows his name. He's 9-10 with a 3.97 ERA. Nothing to write home about. A 1.15 WHIP, which is nice, but let's face it, if he played for the Minnesota Twins, nobody would know his name. I like Rafael Devers to get the over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs today. That's my play in the Boston and New York game today.
Yeah, I love that breakdown. I like the play for sure, but I also just like how you're explaining a little bit. Hey, here's how you look at player props and how you handicap them, and having that walk potential actually help your bet as opposed to having it be a wash or hurting it. So, yeah, love that breakdown there. Devers going over the 1.5. Hop below in the comments if you have any player props that you're betting on this limited slate. And yeah, you brought up Russell Wilson there, Tokyo Brandon. Was there anything more Russell Wilson than having him be, ruled out as the starting quarterback, and yet he was still in full pads on Sunday, like full pads, eye black on, and he was like the emergency backup quarterback. That was the most Russell Wilson thing I have ever seen Russell Wilson in my life. So, yeah, the cringe continues for the guy doing the high knees on the plane. Yeah, it's insane. So let's get back, though, to the diamond here. But talking about football, it's a great time. We have a deal coming up that we'll share with you that you can get some football all access and work in some MLB as well. So a great time to buy. But we'll talk about that in a few because, Trig, I want to get your thoughts on the Nats and the Marlins. This one going at 6:45, so still some time to get to it. Big question mark when you're trying to handicap the pitching on the Marlins side of this equation. For you, what stood out to you? You think this could be, you see the big favorite for the Washington Nationals. You don't see that unless they're playing a team like the Marlins. You think it's justified here? How are you going to be betting this one?
Yeah, so first of all, absolutely zero question mark handicapping the Marlins pitching. Dustin McColgan's not a big league guy. Like he's not a major league caliber pitcher. He's really a AAA depth guy at this point. I think it was Bill Parcells that once said the best ability is availability is the quote. That's kind of like McColgan's thing. This guy was in AAA in like 2018. He's 28 years old. He made his big league debut 4 years ago. Had been watching him at the AAA level for years. Like what he is a guy that's reliable enough to go out every fifth day in AAA, keep your team in a game, total organizational depth pitcher. He's just not a major league caliber arm. So in my opinion, no question mark there. In 7 appearances at the big league level this year, he has a 7.40 ERA, 1.85 whip. That's what you're going to get with him. He's a guy that you're going to just throw out there to eat up innings and pray he doesn't get shelled. And if he does, no big deal. You're the Marlins. You're playing for next year anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I think they're just doing him a solid right now, getting him some service time at the big league level because, again, he's a nice piece to have in your organization, but he's a AAA guy. So it's just a matter of can the Nationals lineup handle him? I think yes. I mean, if you watch first pitch yesterday, my big thing when the Braves-Nats game came up was I wouldn't want to bet against this Nationals team right now. They have a ton of upside in their lineup. You go top to bottom. C.J. Abrams is having a great season. Like he's had some ups and downs, over the course of the year. But when you look back on this year for him, it's going to be a really strong year, a step forward for him finally as like a top prospect. And then they have arguably the top prospect at a position, as far as a position player is concerned in baseball right now, in Dylan Cruz. He looks like he's going to be a superstar. James Wood is settling in nicely at the big league level. And then you go down the list. Andres Chaparro comes over from the Diamondbacks organization. He had a massive season going at AAA, ton of upside there. Juan Yepes looks like he's sort of, finally taking the next step to be a big leaguer. He had a great season at AAA, upside there. And then Jose Tina, who comes over in the Lane Thomas trade, is another guy that is just a total stud, ton of upside. So it's a young lineup, but very, very talented lineup right now, top to bottom. They've all seen McCagan at AAA in some capacity this year. And I won't be surprised if they continue to have success here. Now, laying -1.5, which is the way I would play this game, not always easy to do with the home team. It's and not always easy to do with the Nationals, but I don't mind Mitchell Parker. I think he can keep them in this game. He's had 2 pretty good outings against the Marlins so far this year. 1.80 ERA in 2 starts across 10 innings for him. And I think the nice thing here for Parker, Dan, is that he doesn't have. It's the first game of the series, and he doesn't have to follow one of the other million lefties in their starting rotation. So the thing that's been tough for left-handed pitching for the Nationals this year is they end up having to stack them back to back. So sometimes it's like Parker, Corbin, Hers, Mackenzie Gore, all back to back to back to back. And it's tough if you have to go second or third because the other team just saw a lefty. Not the case here. It's the first game of the series. The Nats are 8-1 against the Marlins this year. I think the Nationals win this game, and I won't be surprised if they win it pretty big.
Yeah, great breakdown in the way that you handicap pitchers. No pitching matchup is a question mark for Trig. The guy has been tracking them since they were high school pitchers. So he's got the breakdown covered there.
The dude's been at AAA since 2018, Dan. He's been at AAA since 2018. It's like 6 years now.
And looking at the numbers, it sounds like he probably should have still been there. Is kind of what we're seeing. So that's Adam Trigger joining us.
Yeah, teams like Miami, they don't. Teams like Miami, they don't. They're out of it. They don't care. So they want.
Listen, mailed in time. Listen, Brandon knows better than anyone. He's had a career in baseball, and it's like sometimes guys are kept around because they're good dudes. They're reliable. They're organizational depth pieces. And when these, every once in a while, they get thrown a bone for some MLB service time. And it's like, you got to take your chance to, even if you have to lay $1.70, like McCoggan's not a big league pitcher. Just, it's what it is. So, can't be back in that scenario, in my opinion.
Watch him go out there and pitch a gem, and then I'm just kidding. Right? Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes for us, guys. Great question here by Eric D. Because on a small slate, why not have some fun? I know, Tokyo Brandon, you hate parlays. They're sucker bets. I know, but they're still fun, especially on a day like this. We got a 3-team favorite parlay from our man Eric D. He's looking at Houston against the lowly A's. He's looking at Cleveland Guardians against the Tampa Bay Rays. And the third team he's looking at is the Cardinals against the Reds. So those 3 games, 2 of them early starts, the one going at 7:15. Any of those stand out to you as what could be the parlay buster, or do you think more than one of those dogs are potentially barking? Again, it's the Cardinals, the Astros, and the Guardians. That's the little Thirsty Thursday special for our man Eric D. I'll get your thoughts as well, Trig, but TB, I'll start with you. Who could potentially break that one up for him, or does that sound like a banker?
The Cardinals could break that one up for him, to be honest. I like Junis. He's a good pitcher, actually. And I like Sonny Gray as well, but the Reds are no slouch. They're 71 and 76. Cardinals are 73, 72. The Reds are not much worse than the Cardinals. I don't see why the Cardinals are minus 165 here. I think Junis is a good pitcher. And I think the Cardinals are going to struggle to win that game. That could be a parlay buster. Astros, and what was the other one?
So Astros he likes. Yeah, it's not like I'm going to be telling you that the A's look all that great. And then the other one was the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. That one the tightest out of the 3 lines here, out of the ones that he's playing. But you already said Reds potentially a live one. Either one of those stand out for you?
Yeah, there's no way on earth I would back Gavin Williams. There's no way. The Guardians, are you kidding me? And the A's can bust up a lot of parlay. They got some good hitters. But
and they've been kind of that team. Yeah, and they've kind of been that team that, just when you think they're dead, then they, go on a little bit of a run here. I mean, let's be real. They are dead. Don't get me wrong. But they've been playing spoiler pretty well. Which of those teams, do you agree with, TB? Is it Reds, the barking dog there? Or, Trig, I mean, let's be real. You can always make a case for an ugly dog. So I'm sure that you're saying A's live. What do you think about the little 3-teamer for our man Eric D?
Eric D, listen to me right now. You want a parlay? I'm going to give you. I just ran this on my phone. The fact that this is plus 115 is wild. So I'm just going to give you like the freest 2-teamer of all time right here. We're going to use Nationals, which I just talked about, money line. Parlay it with the Tigers. That goes at 1 p.m. So graphics team, throw out the Tigers here for me because I broke this game down with Brian Power in my morning wager debut this morning, Dan. He got me up early. I was up at 8 a.m. I said I gave out Tigers -1.5, which at the time was -110. It's now -140. There's been a 90-cent move in the money line, so we got ahead of that on morning wager. But if you parlay Tigers to Nationals, it's like +115. Listen, the Rockies are probably already at the Detroit airport on their way home. Like, I really think they're sending like a local college team to play this game for them today. They used all of their good relief pitchers yesterday, and if you look at how they've managed the bullpen, none of those guys have really been throwing back-to-back days. So Javili, Luis, the guy like Peralta, they all pitched yesterday. They're not really throwing them back-to-back days. They've been one of the worst road teams in baseball all season, 22-55 on the road, 35-54 against teams over 500. They have the Cubs coming to Denver this weekend. So that's a big series for them. It's always a big draw. A lot of people from the Midwest make that trip. That's like a Cubs somewhat have a fan base there. Remember, the Rockies weren't a team until 1993. So a lot of that area used to be Cubs country. So Cubs always draw extremely well at Coors Field. I think if the Rockies had to pick something to care about right now, it's probably playing at home this weekend against the Cubbies. This is a 1 p.m. game in Detroit. I wouldn't be surprised if some regulars got the day off for this game. They're up against Tariq Skubal. So, you want to talk about the Tigers have been the best team in Major League Baseball since August 13th. They have the best record in the league, best run differential, best team ERA. If Tariq Skubal loses this game, I mean, I'm not going to I'm not going to be the Florida State guy, Dan. Not going to make a guarantee like that. But
like eating any dog shit.
Not eating dog shit. But I just where the Tigers are at and knowing how badly they need this game, Skubal cannot lose this game. They are 3 games out of the wild card. They've done all of this work to get them back in the mix. They cannot blow it as a -290 favorite today at home against the Rockies B team. Just can't happen. This line should be -450. TB is actually good at making money lines like this. Like, this is a scenario that the Tigers should be a $5 favorite here. So Tigers to Nationals, there's your parlay.
Yeah, let me add to what Adam said. Detroit is a top 10 hitting team right now. They're fighting for a wild card. They're at home. They have their best pitcher on the mound, and they're playing a team that's worse on the road than the White Sox. So I agree wholeheartedly with what Adam just said. Like I said, there's no guarantees. The Rockies are scrappy, and they still have Charlie Blackmon, who is one of my favorite players. But I don't see them winning this game.
Tigers get the blood flowing out of the gate here to start the day on a short card. That's Adam Trigger, Tokyo Brandon. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. If you're joining us, keep those likes coming. We do appreciate it. Hop below in the comments and let us know what on this short slate you're betting. And if you're joining us over on X, Instagram, and TikTok, hit that follow button and keep those comments coming as well. One of which, I like this look from Jared over on TikTok. Astros and Tigers, looking at them in the first 5 to get it done. Take the bullpens out of it. Take any wonky results out of it. First 5 for the Tigers and the Astros. Put them together. TB, I know with how much you're loving the Tigers, that could be a solid look there. Taking everything out of it and just going first 5. What do you think about our man Jared, what he's cooking over there? A little 2-piece.
Looking at the Tigers bullpen though, I have their bullpen ranked 9 out of 30, and I have Houston's bullpen ranked 13 out of 30. So I don't see a reason to eliminate either one of those bullpens. But if you'd like to, they probably should be able to win the first 5 as well. I find that when I do first 5s like that and get tricky, I end up burning myself more often than I end up winning. And one more thing about capping that you have to remember is the guys who are playing the game are human beings, and their goal is to win the game. They're not trying to win the first 5. So just keep that in mind. I always like to side with what the players are trying to accomplish, which is getting runs and winning the game. So just keep that in mind. But neither one of these bullpens are very slouchy, so I wouldn't eliminate them myself.
Make sure that you check us out over on TikTok. And while you're there, Adam Trigger just hopped in the comments. Give him a follow. Adam Trigger WT over at TikTok. He's trying to get above that 1,000 mark so he can go live for you. You could ask him your own questions while baseball games are going live. Get some live
listen,
looks.
I'm doing that now, Dan. I'm over there doing on demand. I'm handicapping on demand. If you want a breakdown, you drop it in the comments on any of my TikToks throughout the day, and I will circle back and give you my thoughts on that game. So, yeah.
Man of the people.
What else do you want?
Yeah, you comment on his videos.
I'm in the comments on YouTube right now, chatting with some people.
So keep those comments coming. Once the video goes up, comment as well. But like Trig said, check him out over on TikTok. Comment on his videos, and it's like you have direct access to him. He'll break down a game just for you. No Patreon needed. None of those. What is it? Where the people will cameos? No, Trigger's TikTok page is Cameo. He'll make a video for you if you just give him a shout out. Adam Trigger WT. But make sure you follow us at WagerTalk as well. Gentlemen, we'll circle back to a couple games, but with this short slate, we might as well hit best bets here already. And we'll go back to a game that Trig talked about. We'll see if it kind of lines up with how Tokyo Brandon is seeing it, because he's got a best bets in the Marlins and Nats game. Tokyo Brandon, also a best bet, is partnering with you in MLB year after year, month after month. You're making cash for the folks, and people can ride with you through the World Series for under $3 a day. The number one guy on the diamond, picking up nearly 119 units, winning 58%, near 59%. You can grab the MLB through the World Series. Grab that, and you'll get the rest of the regular season for free. So the sooner you buy, the more money you're going to be saving. You can check that out over at Tokyo Brandon's page. So tell folks how pumped up you are for that, and let us know which team total we should be betting in the Marlins and Nats for your free best bet here.
Sure thing. Yeah. While everyone's focused on football, I've been pounding the Detroit office of WagerTalk to give me some kind of baseball special to get a little spotlight off of football, because they're not playing football every single day. There is money to be made in baseball. And so what the Detroit office came up with was, hey, since you're number one in profit in MLB and you're number one in all sports profit, maybe we should make you a package. So they did. So you can get the rest of the MLB regular season absolutely free if you purchase my postseason MLB for, like you said, $3 a day. And you can get the rest of my regular season MLB for free. So 2 months of MLB action for under $3 a day. You can find that special at my page at wagertalk.com. The link right there, wt.buzz/TB. So go ahead and grab that deal. Let's break down again, circle back to Adam's game, the Nationals and the Marlins. So I'm not really going against what Adam said, because I totally agree with him that the Marlins pitcher today is not a major league pitcher. But I kind of like the Miami Marlins team total here. 3.5 for the Miami Marlins seems quite low to me. Granted, they're not a very good team, but I do have them hitting 11 out of 30 teams right now. I have the Washington bullpen ranked 24 out of 30 teams, which is horrible. Mitchell Parker, like Adam said, he's not a horrible pitcher, but actually, if I look at his deeper peripheral numbers, I have him ranked 22 out of 30 on a curve of 30 out of 300 starting out of 300 pitchers in Major League Baseball. So he's towards the bottom. The bullpen is towards the bottom, and we have a lineup that is top 11. So I think the Miami Marlins should have no problem getting a 4 in this game. 3.5 to me seems a little bit low. So my best bet for this show is Miami Marlins over 3.5. Make it a small play though. I would only put 1.5% on this. And let me make one more point before I throw it back to Adam's best bet. A lot of people on Twitter X, they always ask me, what do you mean by 1%, 2%, etc. So let's just be very clear. You have a bankroll to bet your sports. So whether that's $100, $1,000, $10,000, take a straight calculation of 1 or 2%. So let's just say we're going to bet 2% on this game. If your bankroll is $100, bet $2 straight. That's it. It's a very easy calculation. So to answer all those questions in one fell swoop, there we go. I would bet 1.5% on this Miami team total over 3.5.
So bet $1.50 if you have $100 bankroll. That's what TB is breaking down there for you. Big money. Big money. But hey, that's how you grow your bankroll. That is for sure.
$1,000. It's 150, right? So
exactly.
Or no, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No, I'm sorry. It's 10. It's 10. It's 10. So,
yeah, we need our abacus. We need our abacus to calculate there. Trig, feel free to jump in and then we'll talk your best bet. But you can add a little bit there. Yeah, there you go.
No, I was
in
just
the head while we're trying to calculate.
Is that from
I was just going to say a lot of the a lot of like what I said about the Nationals though does apply to the Marlins in terms of like their lineup is a bunch of young guys with upside now too. Connor Norby, Xavier Edwards. So to piggyback off TB, like I think the Nats will find a way to win this game. But if there's still an over 8.5 out there, like it might be like minus 120, minus 125, you're probably going to see runs in this game. I wouldn't be surprised if this turns into kind of like and it's priced like Marlins Nationals doesn't usually scream like offensive explosion. So I actually think there's some value at over 8.5. Like, that would imply TB gets his runs and maybe the Nats get some runs too. So I kind of agree with him, even though I think the Nats win.
So, Trig, for you, what are you eyeing for your best bet? What do you have locked and loaded for the clients over at WagerTalk.com? One of the folks over on TikTok was saying they like the Texas Rangers. That was Trita looking at Texas. It sounds like you're agreeing with that, and we're getting a real nice price on this one. So let us know why we should be looking that way and why folks should partner with you over at WT.buzz/AT.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the game in a second. WT.buzz/AT. I will have a 4% MLB play. Well, it's already up. It's already been posted. I'll post the single game brick as soon as we're off the show. 2-0 so far this week. The only things I bet so far this week were 2 Major League Baseball games. Both of them won. So on a nice little run here to close the year as we try to close out a winning season. And again, TB and I are probably one of the only two that really like grind this out on a daily basis. Football starts, everyone takes off, goes to football. This is still a 7-day-a-week sport, not a 3-day-a-week sport. And Brandon and I are the ones that are doing this on a daily basis. So we've got another best bet today in baseball tonight. Probably my only play for the day, but I do agree with the person in the chat. Rangers is the right side here from like a number standpoint. I also like under 7. Even with that being like a premium number when it comes to a total, this just feels like a 3-2 game, which is basically anytime the Mariners play baseball. But listen, if I don't know what you've been doing if you haven't been staying up till 10 p.m. to watch Kumar Rocker pitch AAA baseball games, because it has been a sight to see. He's going to make his long-awaited Major League debut tonight, but this dude has been unreal in the minors since coming back to AA and AAA. Of course, season, like really his career to this point has been derailed by injuries. This was a guy that, was a first, I think he was the 3rd overall pick a few years back. I think many probably thought he would have been to the bigs a lot sooner, but one thing led to another, injuries, and he ends up in the Rangers organization. He has been unreal at AAA lately, like completely like 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, like just total wipeout stuff. His numbers in AAA this season, 55 strikeouts in 36.2 innings pitched. His ERA is under 2. I'm not saying that definitely translates to the big leagues, but you know where it probably does translate? To a big league team that has a AAA lineup like the Mariners, because this team just does not hit. They haven't all year. It's been the reason that they've been sort of held back all year. And, I knew he was probably going to make his debut in this series, and it sucks that he's up against Bryce Miller, because Miller's the one guy on the Mariners I really do like. So that's why I kind of lean toward under 7 as well. Another thing that might help the Rangers out here, Dan, sorry, I did a show with Ranieri earlier. Another thing that might help the Rangers out here is the fact that DeGrom and Scherzer are coming back this weekend, which means that they're going to have more options in middle relief than they normally do. So the reason Rocker's only been going like 5 innings at AAA is he's been on a bit of a pitch count. So pretty impressive that he's been able to consistently go 5 in like 75 to 80 pitches and still rack up his strikeouts. But I wouldn't worry about the pitch count being a thing here because you're going to probably have DeGrom and Scherzer both start this weekend. Remember, the Rangers have one last-ditch effort at getting back in this. They're 7.5 games behind the Astros. They need to go on a tear. So I think they're going to use some of those other guys that have been starting games to piggyback off of like Rocker here, maybe do it, off of DeGrom and Scherzer this weekend. And I think they're going to really go for it in this game. Now, Miller, even though he's been great, his ERA, career against the Rangers is like 12. I don't think that necessarily means he's going to pitch poorly here, but they have seen him well. So I think it's worth pointing out. So I'll split this one, Dan. Let's just call it like half unit Rangers plus 125 on the money line. Throw another half unit on the under 7 minus 125. It's a juiced under 7. This feels like a 3-2 game to me either way. Definitely some value with the underdog. I don't see there being many runs in this game. So under Rangers, split best bet for me for the show today.
A little two-piece there for you, splitting the wager, Rangers and the under as they're taking on the Seattle Mariners, a side that they have not fared well against this year, but that is why they continue to keep playing the games. Plus 125 is your take back on the Rangers for that one. Big shout out to these guys. Shout out to you in the chat. You were bumping all show long. Benny, catch you slipping. Eric D. This guy named Tokyo Brandon who keeps commenting, breaking down bankrolls. Alfred 44, Chuck Pod. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate those of you over on TikTok as well. Hit that like button on the way out. Give us a follow and subscribe. Hit the little bell. Football info is what you want. College football today coming your way this afternoon, live right around 1:15 Eastern time. Going to be breaking down the CFB slate for you. And of course, bet on it live right now. NFL and college football edition are posted on the channel. So get the winners from the folks you know and love. Marco, Joe, Kelly, Teddy covers new edition over there. More reasons than ever to hit subscribe and that little bell. Best of luck to you tonight. TB going with the Marlins team total over against the Nats. That's his best bet. And Triggs splitting it up with the Rangers and the under in that Rangers and Mariners game. We will be back locked and loaded for a Friday edition. End the week with us tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. But don't go anywhere, folks. You can check out the videos on the channel, the video on your screen right now. And just 30 minutes from now, Tokyo Brandon playing a doubleheader. He's going to be alongside Dave Sharapan and Dave Mason. All kinds of odds makers on the show today, and Tokyo Brandon looking to beat him up on WagerTalk today, coming up in just 30 minutes. They'll be talking NFL and MLB as well. Until next time, folks, best of luck. Cash those tickets, and we'll see you back here on WagerTalk TV.